didn't fight my way through a battalion of parademons to be told to calm down!
And they say I got a temper.
You have me at a loss, Mr.
My name is Orion. I fled from the fire pits of Apocalypse to warn you. He's coming.
Who is?
Darkseid.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my most favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose, I love comic books, I love talking about them, I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. So, I know Orion doesn't get a lot of hits compared to some of my other videos, but I love Walt Simonson, and we're almost done. We've got 4 issues left, including this one. So, Orion ended at issue 25. We are now looking at issue number 22 of Orion, written and drawn by the one and only Walter Simonson. I love this series. I have every single of these issues. This is from 2002. So already, man, oh man, does time fly. I remember when all these issues were on the shelf, but man, 2002 doesn't seem like that long ago, and it's 22 years ago. My God. So Orion is a character created by Jack Kirby and the New Gods. He's part of the New Gods mythos. I do have a playlist with all the Orion, so if you feel like you missed something, feel free to check it out. It's like I said, there's a playlist over there, and I have every issue since number 1 in there, and it'll be sad to wrap this up, even if it, like I said, even if it didn't get a lot of hits. But I love Walt Simonson, so we get the title here, Just Another Night in the Big City. And Walt Simonson is not inking this. He's got his X Factor buddy Bob Wyacek in here. And so we got these two guys here talking. John Workman, by the way, is doing the lettering, one of the greatest letterers of all times, top 3. What order you want to put them in, that's up to you. But Tom Rzakowski, oh my goodness, so Klein, I almost said Kevin, oh my goodness gracious, his name escapes me, but he was the letterer on the Sandman. Todd Klein. Oh my goodness gracious. And then of course Workman. So these are the top 3 in the field. So and so we got these people here, and this guy here says, remember what happened to old man Feister over on 23rd, miss? And this other guy here says, 1 minute he was selling shoes, the next the whole place exploded. Too bad. He was in it too. Haha, he laughs. So here we got our credits of Simonson and Wyacek with John Workman. So Jingles wouldn't want anything like that happening around here, would he? I said, would he? And you can see she's a little agitated by these symbols here. And this guy here says, keep your voice down, Porter. Don't want to scare off the paying customers, he says. And you see he takes out this huge gun here. I was just being friendly. By the way, they're in Metropolis. It was in the lettering, but I skipped over that. So, and so he continues here. In fact, babe, I'm so friendly. I'll show you mine if you show me yours, he says. And his buddy here says, holy, put that thing away. You're not supposed to be flashing the hardware, he says. And so from behind, by the way, if you didn't notice, Orion is sitting right here. So, and so Orion says, that's quite an interesting weapon. Mind if I examine it more closely? And this guy here says, "Hey, what do you think you're?" And you can see Orion smashing it here. Get that sound effect. He goes, "Oh, sorry. They just don't build fire talons on Apocalypse the way they used to." And this guy's like, "Ow, ow, 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 ow. Ah, and you have one too. How interesting." And this guy's like, "Gah, ha, my wrist." So Simonson's just kind of having you just imagining what's going on here without actually showing it. Now, I think you've taken enough of the lady's time, so I'll help you on your way out. Don't come back, he says here. So, and tosses these two guys out. I love how his foot kind of goes outside of the panel. And they run away, and he says, "Jingles ain't gonna like this, mister." And the other guy says, "You're dead, pal. You hear me? Dead." And Orion kind of turns around a little bit and says, "Don't worry, ma'am. I'm staying over at Macy's Rest Haven. I'll be back if they cause any more trouble." And she's like, but. So we get a little exposition here that some time has passed here. And the lady's talking. "My hand to God, I had nothing to do with it, Jingles. I swear. I was ready to pay. Please, I've got the money, every dime. Just tell me." And he goes, "Huh? Never saw him before. Said he's staying at Macy's Flophouse. That's right, Smith Street." And Orion says, "3 of them. 2 coming up. 1 posted in the alley. Perfect." And this guy goes, "He's asleep. Sweet dreams, Pally," he says here, and points this weapon at him and shoots. You can see this big sound effect here. I love Simon. I truly do. I'm not a big Kirby fan, but I just love me some Walter Simonson. And he laughs again. "Heh heh heh. Come on, Porter. Flames be gone in a sec, along with his body. Jingles wants to know who this guy is. Gotta be something here to tell us." Empty. Nothing here. Funny, except for what he was wearing, it's like he's got no ID. And from behind them, he says, "I like to travel light." You can see his legs here. "It makes packing so much easier when I leave." And smiling here, all the Kirby dots here. And this guy's like, "Gut." And Orion says, "I thought I told you boys not to come back." And the other guy's like, "Irk." So this guy hears, "What's keeping them clowns? I'm going to miss tip-off if they don't get a move on it." And so all of a sudden you see a jump here. Could be that Orion tossed some of them, but most likely it's Orion himself. And he says, "Good evening, Mr. Sladek, or can I call you Bill?" And he says, "Your Confederates and I had a little chat upstairs, and they're no longer in any condition to talk. And anyway, I understand you have the answers I seek. Interesting firearm they were carrying." And he points it at him. "Did quite a lot of damage to my bed. How about to the human head?" And this guy says, "What do you want to know?" I just love Simonson here. And he questions here. He smells something. You can see the sniff. "I know you. I recognize the scent," he says. "You were part of the armored troops in Panama who captured me. You swung one of the hammers." And that was in Orion 20, which, of course, I have a playlist, as I said. He says, "Huh? You can't be him." "Bad news, Bill. I am," as he crushes the weapon. "Now, where's Jingles? You've got one chance, which is more than I had." And he says, "I don't know. He always moves around, honest." And Orion says, "Pity." So, and then suddenly, "And a child shall lead him." So we are now sort of in another chapter here. So we got some description around here, like in a first-person narration here. "It was a rainy afternoon, a Tuesday, I think, when all hell broke loose. Nubs and me, that's not his real name, you know. He's missing 2 fingers on his right hand. He brags he lost them in a war. I don't believe him. He doesn't even say which war, but everybody calls him Nubs." And so it's showing here his missing fingers. Did I say it was raining? It was really crummy. Anyway, we were doing a run, delivering a package from Tiger Fassini to Jingles Jericho, and of course we got them. How come none of these guys ever have names like Fred or Bill? So we made the drop off, everything like usual, and headed for Lex's Underground so Nubs could fortify himself against the rain, as he called it. I didn't mind. I like Lex's. Their burgers are outstanding. We didn't finish it though. It's always something. One of my favorite comedians used to say that. She's dead. I see her on reruns sometimes. Jingles, I'm just gonna say would like to speak with you, Nubs, personally now. So nobody ever wanted to see Jingles personally, but they insisted. It wasn't good. And so we got Mr. Jingles here. Nubs, Nubs, Nubs. I'm disappointed in you, Nubs. I watch your back, let you off lightly on a couple of past infractions, and this is how you repay me? It wasn't money. It wasn't money. Cut up newspapers, tied up. Now, I ask you, Nubs, man to man, was that smart, James? And so he goes, hey, better make it a thumb this time. It wasn't me, Jingles, I swear it, he says. So this is how he lost his other fingers, is because he had them cut off. So Nubs might have fooled Jingles, but no way could Nubs outcon me. I watched him like a hawk, and for his own and mine. And I wish it was cash when we left that last pickup. Mr. Jericho, sir, wait. But when we crossed 3rd Avenue, I'm sorry, my dear. I know you're fond of him, but this time I'm afraid il faut necessary. So it's such a bad example for my other runners. But it wasn't Nubs. I'm sure it wasn't. I know what happened to the money. And Mr. Jingle says, a moment, James. I knew suddenly a lot more was riding on this than Nubs' thumb. It was just as we got to 3rd Avenue. The bum was picking garbage, remember, Nubs? And he bumped into us when he straightened up. So we got Orion again. And the guy's like, hey, you blind or something? And he says, sorry. And of course, Nubs is like, clumsy idiot. Why you get a cane or a dog or something instead of knocking people over? I oughta. And the lady here goes, come on, Nubs, leave him alone. There was something about him. He was really still. Like we were nothing to him. She's right, Jingles. It must have been him. He switched the bags. He says, very, Melissa. You bought your guardian a brief reprieve. James, put Nubs in one of the back rooms and look after him. Melissa, I want you to show Shakes and the Colonel where you saw this individual. And so she leads them there. I've had reports of unregistered beggars in Treaselsville who isn't paying his percentage. Someone with very dark glasses. Now I'm hearing stories about a blind man screwing around with my protection. And the enforcers I sent out last night haven't reported back. Maybe he isn't so blind. Of course he is, but... And so Shakes, Colonel, take heavy artillery. Something's odd's going on. And so she's pointing at him. Locate this guy. Find out what he knows. What he wants. Deal with him. All I want is a little peace and quiet. Is that too much to ask? So Jingles is saying that in there. And they go, hey, champ. Nice day, huh? How about a little stroll? And Orion says, was it necessary to bring the child? They hits him in the back of the head. Bad start, champ. We're asking the questions, and so they take Orion with them. Winded up an abandoned building on the border of Trestlesville and the docks. The whole area was deserted. They sent me outside like they do for stuff, but that didn't stop me peeking. I've always liked kids' gloves myself. Not much protection for the knuckles, but the little twist of the ends of the blows can be quite painful. So I'm told, says the guy. So they're gonna beat him up. Shakes here prefers a heavier application for force. He finds a roll off the quarters held tightly inside the fist works wonder. He's a master of brass knuckles. I hope you're not going to spill the beans before we have a chance to question you thoroughly. And Orion just kind of I was gonna say watches, but he is blind, so he just excellent. And so she's narrating here. He just sat there. Of course, he couldn't move anyway, but it was more than that. It was like they weren't in the room. It was creepy. They didn't like it either. They didn't waste any time trying to soften him up. They went right for the jackpot. And you can see her close her eyes. So, who are you? What's your name? And you can see she can't even look anymore. Where'd you come from? Why are you here? And you can just see they keep hitting him. Who are you working for? What happened to Sladek's team? Did they find you? What do you know about the pickup points? Did you cut a deal with Nubs? Is he your pal? And they just keep hitting. How did you find out about the money? What's your angle? Where'd you hear about fire talents? It was awful. It seemed to go on forever. He didn't say a word. Eventually they quit. Maybe because he was unconscious. But I think they just got tired. So, this guy says, I can't believe this guy. He hasn't told us anything. And he says, I don't think he's going to. He ain't even bruised. This is too weird. Better check with Jingles. See if he has any special instructions. I think we ought to just fry him, he says. Now, check out the old cell phones here. So, whoever he is, we should make sure he's a dead end. So, with the armament we got now, we're going to own this town. Why take any chances? And so, somebody picks up. He goes, it's the Colonel. Let me talk to. Funny, the phone went dead, and you can hear the mother box. Ping, 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 ping. There was a low sound, like a bass note amped out of a boombox. It was the ropes popping. And Orion says, Mother Box has intercepted your call. She knows where Jingles is now. Thank you. I believe you gentlemen are armed with fire talons, he says. And it was getting dark, and I couldn't see clearly. And all of a sudden, the other two are screaming now. But I saw enough. I just wasn't fast enough. And Orion puts his arm there. Hello, child. May we talk? And she's like, gasp. I won't harm you. My name is... And then he pauses. Hunter. No, I. How come your glasses never came off? And Orion says, I didn't want them to, child. Stop calling me. My name's Melissa, and I'm not a child. And Orion says, everybody's somebody's child. Not me. I'm nobody's child. Get it? Nobody's child. And Orion says, 13 years old, very angry and very old. You are not a child, Melissa. My apologies. And she says, how did you know that? And Orion says, do you believe in magic, Melissa? Of course not. You should. It's everywhere, even in angry 13-year-olds, he says. I bet you're, and she says, I bet you've never been angry. I mean, really angry. Like when you break things. And so we get her internally. He was very still again. I thought maybe he was angry. But when he spoke, his voice was as calm as the moon. And he shows her this and goes, this is Mother Box, Melissa. She helped me. She helped me find you. She helps me feel better. She would like to make your acquaintance. If you touch her, she will say hello. It was weird. I mean, really weird. It was just a stupid box. But I felt sort of warm just looking at it. And so my hand tinkling, he goes, shh. Then tingly all over. For a second, I felt better than I ever had. I felt still. Then I wasn't standing on the curb anymore. It was like I was floating and getting bigger and bigger until I could see a long, long way. And all the way to Jingles' place. I could even hear him. And so maybe time to retire. Nubs, a pity about the child. I like Melissa, but her loyalty will be to her foster father. And I'm a firm believer in 3 strikes and you're out. Besides, how can I employ a runner who gets taken by a blind man? Nicole, Would you see to it? He says. Give them a nice ride. Take the link. It's a little chilly for a swim in the reservoir, but they won't last long. It was me again, and I was back on the curb. It can't be. It's a trick. Jingles wouldn't do that to Nubs, she says. And Orion says, I'm sorry, Melissa. You've touched Mother Box. You know that what she's showing you is the truth. I've got to get back there. I've got to talk to Jingles. And Orion says, Melissa, Nubs can't do anything without me. I've got to save him. And Orion's right behind her. Wait, Melissa. And she goes, how'd you get in front of me? Are you really blind? And Orion says, I'm very fast. I don't go running off half-cocked most of the times. And yes, I am blind. And Melissa says, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter exactly, does it? You're special somehow. You're after Jingles, aren't you? And his guns, those fire talons. You don't like them, I can tell. You broke them with your bare hands. I didn't think about it till now. And Orion says, well... And Melissa continues, that's what I thought. All right, Mr. Hunter, I'll make a deal. I gotta save Nubs. I love living on the street. I'm good at it, but those guns are really bad. I never saw anything like them before, and neither has Nubs. And Jingle is different ever since the guns showed up. So I'm gonna fix it. And she jumps up. This time you won't catch me. Melissa, listen to me. And she says, no, you listen to me. Because I'm going to make sure Jingles and all his guys and their guns are waiting for you in the building Mother Box showed us. And you better be as good as you think you are. You better be magical. Deal? She says. So, deal, says Orion. I glanced back once. I thought he might be following me, but it was pretty dark by then. And one shadow looked just like another. I didn't look back again. So, next issue, The Walls of Jericho. So, all right. So, Orion number 22 by Walt Simonson with Bob Wycheck. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.